Hello and welcome to our daily VNA News. Following are the headlines.
State and government leaders receive World Bank Country Director. Vietnam's economy forecast to grow 6.7% this year. Hoi An City hosts first ever Pan-Asian Silk Trade Fair.
State President Trương Tấn Sang has called on the World Bank to support Vietnam in coping with prolonged saltwater intrusion in the Mekong Delta. The leader made the request during a reception in Hanoi on March 30th for World Bank Country Director for Vietnam, Victoria Qua, who came to bid farewell at the end of her tenure.
President Sang briefed his guests about the developments of drought, salt intrusion, and climate change in the Mekong Delta, which has caused huge damage on the local economy and lives. He also mentioned the national program on planning canal and dike systems to prevent salt intrusion in the Delta and proposed the World Bank give urgent support to the country in these projects. In reply, Qua confirmed that the World Bank will continue to coordinate with ministries, sectors and localities of Vietnam to put forth effective measures to cope with climate change. She urged Vietnam to cooperate with the bank in implementing its upcoming major programs and proposed that the president authorize agencies to negotiate on rural transport projects, dam safety, credit management and budget cuts. Later on the same day, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng hosted a reception for Director Qua, during which he expressed his wish for continued support from the international community, including the World Bank, to fulfill Vietnam's development goals. He asked the World Bank's support in resources, policy consultation, and technical assistance in infrastructure, sustainable poverty reduction, healthcare, education training, human resource training, and in response to climate change and rising sea levels. The Prime Minister hoped that the World Bank will continue raising its voice towards the effective and sustainable use of the Mekong River resources, especially water. Qua shared her sympathy with the losses caused by ongoing severe drought and saline intrusion in the Central Highlands and Mekong Delta. She said that the World Bank is actively working with Vietnamese ministries, agencies and localities to mitigate the impacts of climate change and extreme weather phenomena over the short, mid and long term.
Vietnam and Algeria exchanged experience in judicial reforms and court procedures during a talk between Chief Justice of the Supreme People's Court Trương Hòa Bình and his Algerian counterpart Budi Slimane in Hanoi on March 30th.
First President of the Algerian Supreme Court, Budi Slimane, visited Vietnam from March 28th to 30th to strengthen ties between judicial organs and Supreme Courts of the two countries, contributing to the development of bilateral relations. Bing briefed his guest on the role of people's courts in Vietnam, which have experienced major changes in jurisdiction and organizational structure. Vietnam's judicial system has been changed from a three-tier to a four-tier hierarchy, which now includes the Supreme People's Court, the High-Level People's Court, the Provincial People's Court, and the District People's Court. The two sides agreed to ramp up cooperation in the field by increasing exchange of delegations to enhance mutual understanding. The talk was followed by a signing ceremony for a joint agreement between the two Supreme Courts.
A delegation from the U.S. Department of State, led by Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, David Subsisten, visited the Central Highlands province of Gia Lai on March 30th to learn about its religious and human rights situation.
At the working session with the Provincial People's Committee, local officials briefed the delegation about the socio-economic development as well as the freedom of belief of religions in the province. Currently, Gia Lai province is home to various religious sects, including Catholicism, Buddhism and Protestantism, with more than 340,000 followers, 7 times higher than the figure in 1975. The officials affirmed that local authorities always create favorable conditions for religious groups to operate legally. Moreover, they also encourage religious sects to join hands with local administrations in improving the living conditions of local residents. Ambassador David Saperstein acknowledged the positive progress in terms of human rights and religious freedom that Gia Lai province has recorded in recent years. During its visit, the U.S. delegation also worked with the Commission for Religious Affairs under the Provincial Party Committee and paid a fact-finding trip to religious establishments.
Vietnam's economy will remain stable in 2016 with a growth rate of 6.7%, followed by a modest slowing of growth to 6.5% in 2017. The Asian Development Bank announced the forecast while publishing its report, Asian Development Outlook 2016, on March 30th.
ADB Country Director for Vietnam, Eric Stigwitz, noted that Vietnam's economic growth will be driven by continued high foreign direct investment, rising domestic consumption and demand, and pro-growth policy settings. He suggested that in the short term, Vietnam should rebuild macroeconomic buffers to ensure the economy can be more resilient to any future economic shocks, as global instability and slowing growth in major trade partners has the potential to disrupt the country's economic outlook. According to the director, Vietnam will benefit from the signing of a range of new free trade agreements, which will create many business and trade opportunities. However, local enterprises will have to face increasing business pressure. Therefore, to maximize benefits of the FTAs, the government should work to create an economy with higher productivity to adapt to rising competitiveness. He also suggested the government continue taking actions to strengthen the banking system, including resolving the existing stock of non-performing loans and preventing the build-up of new ones, as this continues to stifle the creation of any efficient and inclusive financial sector.
Vietnam's tourism sector should sharpen its competitive edge amid its deeper regional integration, especially after the ASEAN Economic Community was formally established at the end of last year. Panels delivered this suggestion at a workshop in Hanoi on March 30th.
The event was designed to announce an ASEAN tourism strategy for the 2016 to 2025 period, as well as the Vietnamese tourism sector's preparations for regional integration. Participants held that the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community offers great opportunities for Vietnam's tourism sector. The sector will also benefit from tourism infrastructure development projects in the Mekong sub-region. To meet regional integration requirements, they suggested the sector focus on implementing ASEAN joint tourism cooperation activities, actively recommend regional integration initiatives, and removing shortcomings related to policies. The sector was also advised to work out measures to cope with challenges during the integration process by taking full use of advantages offered by the ASEAN Economic Community.
Vietnam's earnings from the export of agro, fishery, forestry products were estimated at $6.73 billion in the first quarter of 2016, a year-on-year increase of 3.1%. We have more in the following report.
During the period, the country shipped some 1.95 million tons of rice to foreign countries and brought home $692 million, up 41.6% in volume and 40.8% in revenue against the same period last year. Indonesia emerged as Vietnam's largest rice importer, followed by China. Strong growth markets include the Philippines and Malaysia, while a sharp fall in rice consumption was recorded in Ivory Coast and Singapore. The value of aquatic exports in the quarter was calculated at nearly $1.36 billion, rising 1.7% from 2015. The US, Japan, and China remain Vietnam's largest seafood consumption markets. Likewise, overseas shipments of coffee saw an annual gain of 30.2% in volume and 5.7% in value. The country also splashed out $5.31 billion on agroforestry imports in Q1, down 3.9% against the same period last year. Imports of major products were $3.77 billion, a year-on-year drop of 9.7%.
An exhibition of historical evidence proving Vietnam's sovereignty over Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos, known as Paracel as Bradley in English, opened to the public in the northern province of Tai Binh on March 30th.
On display are numerous documents and around 100 maps in Chinese, Nom or Old Vietnamese writing using Chinese characters, French and modern Vietnamese, issued by Vietnamese feudal states, the French authorities in Indochina, the Saigon administration, and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The documents affirm Vietnam's sovereignty over these islands and reflects the country's administrative management as well as its exercise and protection of sovereignty over the archipelagos. Of note, 30 maps officially published by the Chinese states show that China had never managed the archipelagos. The exhibition, aiming to raise public awareness of national sovereignty over the archipelagos, runs until April the 3rd. All of the exhibits will then be given to Tai Binh City.
The Hung King's Temple Festival will see no visitors being overcharged nor illegal dishes of endangered wildlife on sale this year. This was the promise from the organizers.
Accordingly, 3 inspection teams will be established for regular checks, while a hotline active around the clock will be set up to receive feedback. Moreover, local shop owners will be required to post their fixed prices for all services. The 2016 Hung King's Temple Festival is scheduled to take place from April 12 to 16 with a string of new activities. A street festival in Việt Trì City, a cultural concert, and a firework display will be the highlights of the event. In addition, there will be a number of exhibitions displaying photos, paintings, documents, and objects that feature Hung King worshipping rituals, as well as the land and people of Phu Thọ, along with performances of swan singing. The Hung Kings founded the first nation in the history of Vietnam, called Văn Lang in Phong Châu, now Phu Thọ province. They taught locals how to grow wet rice and chose Nghĩa Linh Mountain, the highest in the region, to perform rituals devoted to rice and sun deities to pray for lush crops. The worshipping rituals of the Hung Kings was recognized as UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity in 2012.
In an effort to make Vietnamese silk more popular, the Asian city of Hội An has hosted an international silk festival, bringing together Vietnam and the world's most famous silk centers.
Craftsmen, traders and designers joined together in the first Vietnam Asia Silk Culture Festival at Hội An Silk Village. The festival opened up chances for silk centers in Asia and the world by building up connections in production and export. This is a silk production space of the Cham ethnic people from the central province of Ninh Thuận. Many of the products here are handmade.
Joining this festival, I hope that we can learn the ways of making silk from foreign craftsmen so that we can improve the quality of our products.
The festival also includes displays from elegant French fashion designers, cashmere silk from India, and silk from China, Myanmar, and Japan. Last year, the Hội An Silk Village presented Vietnam and joined the Asia Silk Alliance as one of the 7 founding members, with responsibility for linking Vietnamese silk enterprises with the wider Asian silk community.
And that has come to an end of our bulletin. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.